Hey, welcome to Marital Mentor. I'm your host, Ross. Thanks for joining, and I want to share with you something that happened to me recently that may be beneficial to you. So, I learned this very big lesson recently. I had this discussion with my wife, and through our discussion, I mentioned to her, I told her that I'm not, and I shouldn't be her secure attachment. And, well, that didn't go well. What I meant was that really only the Lord should be her all in all secure attachment, because God forbid something happened to me, I wouldn't want her to fall apart, right? Well, that's not what I said. And I didn't clear that up till after the fact, but what it did was not good. And she didn't respond well to that, to say the least. She ran to alcohol, and she ended up, man, tore up the house. I mean, like, tore it up, broken glass, and just it was a mess. It was a real mess. And it wasn't until later till we discussed, of why did that hurt her so much. And she mentioned to me that what I said, that I'm not to be her secure attachment, that shook her foundation. It rocked her to, like, her very core, you know. Um, and I own that, and it's something I shouldn't have said, or didn't really think that one through. Man, she shut me out, and I saw her struggle for the next 24 hours. Um, from me saying that one thing. And well, it wasn't until later to where the Lord actually got a hold of me, and he helped me to understand something. So that's what I want to share with you. He had me focus and study Ephesians 5:29, and he highlighted these two words to me: nourishing and cherishing. And he said that I focus a little too much on the nourishing part, and not enough on the cherishing part. Now, Webster's dictionary says that cherishing is to keep or cultivate with care and affection, to nurture. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not that good at nurturing. And maybe it's because I'm a guy, and maybe I just assumed that women are much better at nurturing, that that wasn't a part of who I was. And well, I tell you, that didn't give me a free pass. Actually, it only kept me from receiving the truth and to believe in the lie, that was something that was told to me, that it can't be nurturing, or couldn't get better in that respect. I am capable of nurturing and cherishing. His word breaks it down this way: Ephesians 5:29. This is where it's talking about how husbands should love their wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. But that's not the verse we're talking about, but that's context. It says that no one ever hated his flesh, but nourishes it and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. The word nourishing is the word akripho, means to nourish up to maturity. The dictionary says nourishing is to contribute to the health and growth. The word cherishing in the Greek is the word thalpo. It means to heat or to soften by heat. One, it says to keep warm, as birds covering their young with their feathers, which reminds me of Psalm 91 verse 4. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall find rest. Jesus in Matthew 23, where he's sitting and he's overlooking Jerusalem, lamenting, he says this: how often I wanted to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you weren't willing. It also means metaphorically to cherish with tender love, to foster with tender care. So the Lord showed me an image of me, if I was to find like a precious stone, and how I might care for it, right? I might polish it, right? I might place it with, the rest of like some like jewelry, somewhere kind of nice, But then he showed me, he's like, what if you found out that stone was actually a one-of-a-kind, priceless gem? How would you care for it then? Right, I would probably place it in like a high security vault, and where only I could be one who had access to it. And when I'd visit it, I'd may put on like special gloves, right? So I didn't want to scratch it or anything like that, and use like a soft cloth to polish it or something, it was just like this increased level of care that I noticed what I would do. Then I heard that nourishing is good, but without cherishing it, it's actually useless. The funny thing is that my wife is like the perfect example for this. She's very big in collecting gems and stones, some for making jewelry, some for just setting, to wear it on display so it looks really nice. She actually cherishes her gems. And she can tell you like all about them, where they come from, who gave them to her, if it was a gift, where she bought them, when. She can tell you all about each one. Like she learns about it, she studies it, and she loves it. She tells me these things of why they're like individually, precious and special and what makes them unique and different. She is amazing. And let me tell you, what I learned from her is how our Heavenly Father sees us, sees you. You're His precious gem. You're unique. You're special. He cares for you in that way, and He cherishes you. And I learned I am to learn about my wife the same way. And the biggest way is paying attention to her. I say it's the biggest because it costs the most. To pay attention. Pay means it's going to cost me something. What I'm going to pay with? My time. I may not be focusing on myself as much or other interests of mine. But that's how I'll learn. You see, free is nice. We all like free. But when you pay for something, it tends to give that item that you paid for a lot more value. So after this epiphany with the Lord that I had about this, it was the next day, and I wanted my wife to wake up and see the mess that she made through her tantrum. But the Lord got a hold of me again. He told me, Ross, you clean up the mess. And I was like, well, why would I clean it up? And He showed me because He knows as good as I do that she won't take it well. See, she would see that, and then she would start to internalize and start condemning herself and thinking how bad of a wife she is and a person she is. Start going into things like shame and guilt. She might even go into like depression. He said, but if you cherish her, you'll protect her from that. And then He took it a step further. He called me to go the extra mile. He said, go ahead and make her breakfast in bed. Show her how much she's loved and cared for and cherished. Then He hit me again with Ephesians 5, but this time is verse 26. He might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water through the word. I was led to look up the word cleanse. In the Greek, it's katharizo, which means to cleanse from the guilt of sin. So husbands, what are we going to do? Can we do better? Can we fulfill the calling as a husband? Let's focus more on cherishing them. For we're called to love them as Christ loved the church. And the Lord cherishes you. And I know you can do it with His help, with His guidance, because He's doing it for me. And I am no one special. Well, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope this has been a blessing to you. I hope you got something out of this and has encouraged you in your walk as a husband. And until next time, God bless.